Hello, my name is Jackie Bobag, and I'm a Master of Public Health candidate at Eastern Washington University. Today, I'll be sharing my applied practice experience, which focused on tuberculosis mortality disparities in Yakima County, Washington. This topic is important to me because of its direct impact on underserved populations in my own community. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the project's purpose, major work products, key activities, competency connections, and my biggest takeaways from the experience. Before I dive into the details, I wanted to give you a quick snapshot of what this report set out to accomplish. The applied practice experience focused on identifying where tuberculosis disparities exist in Yakima County and what actions can be taken to address them. My report brings together quantitative data on TB cases and mortality, qualitative insights from community stakeholders, and evidence-based strategies to guide future prevention and control efforts. In short, it's both a diagnosis of the problem and a roadmap for solutions. The purpose of my applied practice experience was to investigate and address disparities in tuberculosis outcomes with a focus on American Indian and Alaska Native communities in Yakima County. I completed this work at the Yakima Health District under the mentorship of Dr. Yasmin Barrios, an epidemiologist. My role included TB data analysis, stakeholder engagement, and developing culturally tailored educational materials to support prevention, early detection, and treatment adherence. I was able to combine my public health training with practical, on-the-ground problem solving in a way that I found both challenging and rewarding. This project resulted in 4 major work products. First, the TB mortality and disparity data report, which provided a baseline for understanding of TB burden and inequities in Yakima County. Second, the TB strategy equity brief, which outlined actionable evidence-based interventions tailored to community needs. Third, a public-facing TB infographic designed to increase awareness and promote prevention. And finally, interview summaries that captured qualitative insights from tribal health leaders, public health practitioners, and TB program managers. Together, these products reflect both the data-driven and relationship-building aspects of public health work. Here's an overview of my process. Inputs included TB surveillance data from the Washington State Department of Health, national incidence reports from the CDC, guidance from my site supervisor, and a literature review on TB disparities in American Indian and Alaska Native populations. Activities included compiling and disaggregating local data, reviewing literature, and integrating findings into written and visual work products. Outputs included the TB mortality and disparity report and the TB equity strategy brief. Finally, outcomes were providing YHD, the Yakima Health District, and partners with a clear TB baseline, identifying equity gaps and supporting data-driven decisions for targeted interventions. For each work product, I'll explain how it was developed, implemented, modified when needed, and evaluated for accuracy. To start, the foundation of this project was the TB mortality and disparity data report. Inputs included TB surveillance data from 2020 to 2024, the CDC incidence reports, and guidance from my site supervisor. Activities included compiling mortality data specific to Yakima County, disaggregating it by race, ethnicity, age, and geography, and contextualizing findings with literature. The output was a comprehensive report with tables and charts. The outcomes were providing an evidence-based starting point for TB disparity reduction and helping YHD target interventions. This report was developed using state and national data implemented through close coordination with my site supervisor, modified to accommodate delays in data processing, and evaluated for clarity and accuracy before finalization. Building on that data, my next key deliverable was the TB equity strategy brief. Inputs included quantitative data from the TB mortality report, qualitative insights from stakeholder interviews, and best practices from the CDC. Activities involved synthesizing data into key themes, developing culturally responsive strategies, and prioritizing recommendations based on feasibility and impact. The output was a 6-page strategy brief with actionable recommendations. And the outcomes were guiding YHD's TB program planning with evidence-based strategies and strengthening partnerships with tribal health and community organizations. This brief was developed collaboratively, implemented as a planning tool for YHD, modified after incorporating stakeholder feedback, and evaluated by my site supervisor for alignment with local priorities. With the strategies in place, I wanted to make the information accessible to the community, so I designed a public-facing TB infographic. Inputs included TB prevention messaging from the CDC and Washington Department of Health, culturally relevant imagery from community partners and Canva design tools. Activities were designing a visually engaging plain language infographic with culturally tailored visuals aligned to YHD branding. The output was a final infographic in digital PDF and print formats, and the outcomes were increased public awareness of TB risks and improved knowledge of testing and treatment resources. It was developed in Canva, implemented as part of YHD's community outreach, modified after 2 rounds of communications, team feedback, and evaluated for readability and accuracy before printing. Finally, to ensure local voices shaped these strategies, I conducted stakeholder interviews. Inputs included interview guides and consent scripts, a contact list from my site supervisor, and Zoom or phone conferencing tools. Activities were conducting 4 interviews with tribal health leaders and TB program managers, then transcribing and summarizing key themes. The outputs were 4 detailed interview summaries that directly informed the TB equity strategy brief. And the outcomes were integrating community perspectives into TB strategies and fostering trust with partners. This work was developed using prepared questions, implemented through scheduled interviews, modified after the first interview to better capture cultural considerations, and evaluated by my supervisor to ensure accuracy. My applied practice experience addressed 5 key competencies. Competency 1, applying epidemiological methods. This was shown through my TB data collection, analysis, and disaggregation. Competency 4, interpreting results of data analysis. This was demonstrated in my translation of data into strategy brief and infographic. Competency 6, discussing structural bias and inequities. This was reflected in integrating stakeholder insights on barriers such as stigma and healthcare access. Competency 13, proposing strategies to identify stakeholders and build coalitions. This was shown in evidenced in partnership recommendations within the strategy brief. And finally, competency 18, selecting communication strategies for different audiences. This was shown through culturally tailored materials for public and professional audiences. 2 high-quality work products that clearly demonstrate these competencies are the TB equity strategy brief and the TB public-facing infographic. This experience strengthened my epidemiologic skills through hands-on TB data analysis and interpretation. I learned to bridge data with action by creating strategies and tools that are culturally responsive and actionable. I expanded my professional network with state TB staff, tribal leaders, and healthcare partners. And most importantly, I clarified that my career path will focus on roles combining data analysis, strategy development, and community engagement and communicable disease prevention. These skills and experience will directly support my future work in advancing health equity in underserved communities. Thank you for your time and attention. I'd like to acknowledge the Yakima Health District, my site supervisor, Dr. Yasmin Barrios, and Eastern Washington University for their guidance and support throughout this project.